Shameless Writers. I'm Kristin McTiernan, the nonsense-free editor, here for your weekly dose of writing wisdom. November is sci-fi and fantasy month, and I thought I'd kick us off with some mild controversy. The 9th installment of Star Wars hits theaters in December, so I thought I'd hit you all with a mild reminder. Star Wars is not sci-fi. It's fantasy, but set in space. Now, if you're a fan of Star Wars, that's not a terribly important distinction. But if you're an author, being fuzzy on your genre could be disastrous for your sales. Properly classifying your books into their best genre is important for both traditional and indie pub authors. For trad pubs, having a very firm genre is important both for getting an agent and for getting a publishing contract. You see, booksellers need to know where to put your book. So if they look at your book description or your book title and they're not exactly sure which shelf to put it on, they're going to pass on it. Publishers and agents know this, so the more neatly your book fits into a very specific genre, the better chance it has of selling. For independent authors, you have a little bit more flexibility because you're only catering to the readers rather than picky agents or brick-and-mortar booksellers. When you post your book on Amazon, you get 2 BSAC categories, and then you get up to 7 keywords or key phrases in order for readers to know if they're interested in your book. Despite this level of flexibility, you still need to make sure you live up to readers' expectations. So let's have a thought experiment. Let's pretend that Star Wars isn't a billion-dollar film franchise with a theme park now, I think. Let's pretend it's a book that you wrote. So let's say I'm a reader. I have just finished reading James S.A. Corey's The Expanse series. Not only did I read the book series, I also watched the TV version on the Sci-Fi Network, and I'm eagerly awaiting Season 4 to come out on Amazon Prime this December. While I'm waiting for the season premiere, I want to read another space-based sci-fi series. As I'm looking, I stumble upon your Star Wars trilogy. For the sake of clarity and for my blood pressure, we're going to focus only on the original trilogy. So I read all 3 of your Star Wars books. I like all 3 of your Star Wars books. But I only give it a 3-star rating. Why? Because I was looking for science fiction, and you gave me fantasy. How do I know this? For 3 reasons. Reason 1, science fiction deals with science. Specifically, it deals with plausible technologies that have not yet come to pass, but may. The technology involved in the Expanse and Martian colonization, as well as the ore mining going on in the asteroid belt, these things do not exist yet, but they could. Even the extraterrestrial life form in Leviathan Wakes, book 1 of the series, is theoretically possible and has already been discussed in scientific works. Contrast that with the Force. The Force is an unseeable, unknowable thing that is honestly very similar to our ideas of a deity. Part of the reason that Star Wars fans disliked the prequels is because they attempted to quantify the Force in the form of midichlorians, which are microscopic organisms, I guess, in a person's blood that makes them Force sensitive. Previously, the Force had been something of wonder. We didn't know why it chose certain people to perceive it and be able to manipulate it. But according to the prequels, oh, it's just something in your blood. It's passed from parent to child. Well, that's not very magical, is it? Hardcore Star Wars fans, whether they knew it or not, are fantasy fans. They didn't want sci-fi getting shoved down their throat. Additionally, Star Wars doesn't really pay any mind to science at all in anything that they do. You can see this when bombs drop straight down in space because, gravity exists in space or something. No one is afraid of radiation in space. No one is concerned about bone loss from extended time in low G or 0G environments. No one even brings this up. And of course, we all remember that really cool scene at the end of Rogue One where Darth Vader stands in an open airlock with his cape fluttering in the breeze. Don't get me wrong, it was so cool how he just went to town on all those soldiers with his lightsaber. We were all waiting for that. We all loved it. But seriously, standing in an open airlock with the cape fluttering, it was ridiculous. Number 2, the setting itself can actually be the dividing point between science fiction and fantasy. When does The Expanse take place? And where? Leviathan Wakes starts in 2350. It takes place on Earth, on Mars, in the asteroid belt between the two planets, and on myriad spacecraft. Even if the setting in your sci-fi book does not exist, it will in the minds of your readers, and it should make logical sense for how we got to our point of existence now, to the point that you're writing about in the future, or in the past. When does Star Wars take place, and where? A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Well, that's helpful. Yes, of course, these planets and systems have names, but there's no logical path from our existence now to this galaxy long ago, far away. Both Firefly and Battlestar Galactica, which did have elements of fantasy perhaps, but are firmly sci-fi because there was a logical path from Earth as it is now to each of these fictional Earths in these sci-fi series. Number 3, the malleability of the rules. Both science fiction and fantasy operate within a set of rules that govern the technology or the magic system, respectively. However, sci-fi usually bases its rules on the laws of physics and our existing scientific knowledge as we have it now. As such, the author has to be much more rigid because the laws of physics are just that, they're laws. You cannot break them. Fantasy writers have more opportunities to change the rules as they go with the discovery of new information. As long as you write it well and you don't insult your readers, you can have those moments which are a Deus Ex Machina moment or even a retcon if you have a long-running series. No one likes them, but we accept them that they are a part of the genre. But if you're a sci-fi writer and you start messing around with the laws of physics or what specific aircraft are capable of doing, buckle up, because you will hear about it, and not just once or twice. Sci-fi fans are rabid technology fans, and they will let you know now and forever if you mess something up. So do your homework. Though sci-fi and fantasy often get lumped together not only on bookshelves but in the casual reader's minds, they are actually rather different, and they appeal to different sensibilities in the reader. I generally prefer fantasy to sci-fi, which is why I've been sticking to supernatural in my own writing. Speaking of which, I plan to reveal my cover for the third in my Black Magic series on November 27th. So if you'd like to be the first to see that, make sure you sign up for my mailing list, link in the description, and you get access to all of my awesome nerdy blogs and movie and TV reviews. As always, if you like this content, remember to like, share online, and subscribe to my channel to let YouTube know you think I'm doing a good job. So until next week, take care and write well.